Let's take you back to a small suburban high school in the late 1990s, where the hallways are filled with the chatter of teenagers, and the walls are plastered with posters for the upcoming homecoming dance. It's a typical day at Oak Ridge High, a school where social hierarchies are as rigid as the old wooden desks in the classrooms. In one of those classrooms, a history class is just wrapping up, and a black teenager named Jamal, about 16 years old, is gathering his books, his backpack slung over one shoulder. Jamal is quiet and studious, his clothes a little worn but neat, a reflection of his family's modest circumstances. His mom works long hours as a nurse, and his dad passed away when he was young. Despite his challenges, Jamal dreams of becoming an engineer. His notebook filled with sketches of bridges and buildings he hopes to design one day. But not everyone at Oak Ridge High sees his potential. Sitting a few desks away is a white girl named Emily, a popular cheerleader with blonde hair and a sharp tongue, her designer clothes and confident smirk marking her as someone who knows her place at the top of the social ladder. As the bell rings and the students file out, Emily spots Jamal and decides to make him her target for the day, her friends trailing behind her, giggling in anticipation. "Hey, Jamal," Emily calls out, her voice loud enough for the entire hallway to hear, her tone dripping with mockery. "Did you get that shirt from the thrift store? Oh, wait, I bet your mom pulled it out of the hospital laundry for you." Her friends burst into laughter, their voices echoing off the lockers, and a crowd begins to gather, some kids joining in with their own taunts, others looking away but doing nothing to stop it. Jamal's face burns with humiliation, his hands tightening around his backpack straps, but he tries to keep walking, his head down. Emily isn't done, though. She steps in front of him, blocking his path, her eyes gleaming with cruelty. "You don't belong here. You know that, right?" she says, her voice lowering to a venomous whisper. "You're just a charity case. Why don't you go back to where you came from? Nobody wants you here." The words hit Jamal like a punch, the racial undertone unmistakable, and you can see the hurt in his eyes, the way his shoulders slump as the crowd's laughter grows louder. A teacher, passing by, pauses, her expression conflicted, but she doesn't intervene. Her silence a tacit approval of Emily's behavior. Jamal finally pushes past Emily, his voice barely audible as he mutters, "Leave me alone." But the damage is done. The taunts follow him down the hall, Emily's voice ringing out with one last jab. "You'll never be anything, Jamal. You're nothing." You can feel the injustice of it all, the way Jamal is being humiliated for no reason other than Emily's prejudice and the school's complicity, and it makes your blood boil. But there's a spark in Jamal's eyes, a quiet determination that tells you he's not going to let this define him. The bullying doesn't stop with that one incident. For the rest of high school, Emily and her friends make Jamal's life a nightmare, mocking his clothes, his grades, his dreams, their taunts a constant reminder of his outsider status. They call him names, spread rumors, even sabotage his projects. One time, Emily accidentally spills soda on a model bridge. Jamal spent weeks building for a science fair, laughing as he tries to salvage the pieces. Jamal never fights back. He's too focused on his studies, too determined to prove them wrong in his own way. He spends late nights at the library, teaching himself advanced math and physics, his dreams of becoming an engineer, keeping him going through the worst of it. By the time graduation rolls around, Jamal has earned a full scholarship to a prestigious university, while Emily, who coasted through school on her popularity, barely scrapes by with a diploma. On the last day of school, as Jamal walks across the stage to receive his diploma, Emily smirks from the crowd, whispering to her friends, "He'll probably drop out in a year. Watch." But Jamal hears her, and as he accepts his diploma, he makes a silent promise to himself. One day, he'll show her just how wrong she is. Fast forward 20 years, and the scene shifts to a sleek, modern office building in the heart of a major city, the headquarters of Carter Innovations, a leading engineering firm known for designing some of the most iconic structures in the world. The office is a hive of activity, with engineers in smart casual attire collaborating on blueprints, their voices filled with excitement as they discuss a new skyscraper project. At the center of it all is Jamal, now in his mid-30s, a tall, confident man with a warm smile and a quiet authority. He's the CEO of Carter Innovations, a company he founded after years of hard work, starting with small projects and building his reputation as a brilliant engineer who designs structures that are both beautiful and sustainable. His office is a reflection of his success. Glass walls. There's a knock on his door, and his assistant, a young man named Kevin, steps in, his expression hesitant. "Mr. Carter, there's a woman here to see you," Kevin says. "She doesn't have an appointment, but she says it's urgent. She's looking for a job. Her name is Emily Thompson." Jamal's face freezes for a moment, the name hitting him like a wave, memories of high school flooding back, the taunts, the laughter, the soda on his model bridge. He takes a deep breath, his voice steady, but his eyes sharp. "Send her in," he says, leaning back in his chair, bracing himself for what's to come. Emily steps into the office, a far cry from the confident cheerleader she once was. She's in her mid-30s now, her blonde hair dulled, her clothes cheap and wrinkled, her face lined with the stress of a life that hasn't gone as planned. She's been out of work for months. Her resume, a patchwork of short-term jobs that never panned out. Her sense of entitlement and lack of skills catching up with her after years of coasting. She heard Carter Innovations was hiring, and she's desperate for a chance, unaware that the man behind the desk is the boy she tormented all those years ago. Emily launches into her pitch, her voice nervous but hopeful, clutching a crumpled resume as she speaks. "Mr. Carter, thank you for seeing me," she says. "I've heard amazing things about your company, and I'd do anything to work here, even a low-level position. I've had some tough times lately, and I really need this job." Jamal listens quietly, his expression unreadable, letting her finish before he speaks. "Do you know who I am, Emily?" he asks, his voice calm but firm, his eyes locking onto hers. Emily frowns, confusion flickering across her face, and then she looks closer, her eyes widening as recognition dawns. "Jamal?" she whispers, her voice trembling, her hands dropping the resume, as the memories come rushing back. You're Jamal Carter? From Oak Ridge High?" Jamal nods, his gaze unwavering. "Yes," he says. "The same Jamal you taunted every day, the one you said would never be anything, the one you told didn't belong. I built this company from nothing, Emily, while well, it looks like life hasn't been so kind to you." Emily's face turns pale, her hands shaking as she stammers, I didn't mean, I was just a kid, Jamal. I'm so sorry. I didn't know you'd become this." Her voice breaks, tears welling in her eyes as the reality of the situation sinks in. She's begging for a job from the boy she humiliated, the boy she thought would never amount to anything. Jamal leans forward, his voice steady but laced with controlled anger. "You didn't just tease me, Emily," he says. "You made my life a living hell. You mocked my clothes, my dreams, my race. You made me feel like I was nothing, and you did it because you thought you were better than me. But look at us now. I'm not here to get revenge. I'm here to show you what I've become, despite everything you did to me." Emily sobs, her hands covering her face. the weight of her past actions crashing down on her. Jamal pauses, his expression softening slightly, and then he makes a decision that surprises even himself. "I'll give you a chance," he says, his voice firm but fair. "Not because I owe you anything, but because I believe in second chances. You can start in the mailroom. Prove yourself, work hard, and maybe you'll earn your way up. But if I hear even a hint of the old Emily, you're out." Emily nods, tears streaming down her face, her voice barely a whisper as she says, "Thank you. Thank you, Jamal." The decision to hire Emily marks a turning point for both of them, but it comes with consequences that ripple through their lives. Emily starts in the mailroom, her pride shattered, but her determination growing as she works harder than she ever has, desperate to prove herself. She's humbled by the experience, her colleagues unaware of her past, and over time, she earns their respect. For Emily, the long-term consequences of her past are a lesson she'll never forget. Her reputation in her old social circles takes a hit. Friends from high school, who once admired her popularity, distance themselves when they learn she's working a low-level job, her fall from grace a topic of gossip at their reunions. She loses the superficial connections she once valued, but in their place, she builds a new life, one grounded in humility and hard work. She writes Jamal a letter one day, years after starting at Carter Innovations, thanking him for giving her a chance and apologizing again for her actions, her words raw and sincere. Jamal reads the letter, a small smile on his face, and sets it aside. He's already moved on, focused on the future he's built. One evening, Jamal stands on the roof of one of his skyscrapers, a towering structure he designed himself, the city lights stretching out before him. He thinks about that day in the hallway at Oak Ridge High, the day Emily taunted him, the day he vowed to prove her wrong. He smiles, knowing he didn't just prove her wrong, he showed her what true strength looks like, what justice really means. And as you reflect on his story, you can't help but ask yourself, what would the world look like if we all rose above our past, if we all gave others the chance to grow? Jamal showed us that justice isn't just about punishment, it's about redemption, about building a better future for everyone. So as you turn off this video, carry his lesson with you. Never underestimate anyone, because one day they might be the one holding the key to your future.